Everybody, Natalie coming to live, spirit and coffee. Although, okay, this is not coffee time because it's nighttime. So we're drinking herbal tea. But I got my tea here because obviously it's spirit and coffee time, okay? And I hope for those of you on Podbean, you can hear us. Please let me know. Hello, Randall. Good evening. I have Miss Chookie Wookie.
Hello.
She's a 17-year-old spiritual alchemist enthusiast practitioner. I'm going to put her on there. She might be a little camera shy.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. So we have Chookie on here. Now, here's the deal. I call her Chookie. This is my niece, and I call her Chookie. And she has been a part of Spirit and Coffee since the inception of it, since I started it. Yes. And she's also obviously been a part of my life since she was born. I actually saw this kid be born, which is kind of crazy cool. And she has had the pleasure, I laugh about this, of having me as her auntie. Good luck. And so she is a practitioner of the great work that we call spiritual alchemy. And I just love the fact that a young teenager has the ability, hey, Randall, hey, Robert, to really start to focus in on their spiritual practices. Now, Chookie, how long have you been involved in spiritual alchemy?
For about 2 whole years.
2 whole years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell them can you tell us what spiritual alchemy means to you?
Spiritual alchemy.
You got to speak kind of high because of the mic here.
Oh, sorry. Spiritual alchemy to me.
I'll hold it. You
Okay.
can speak.
Means the ability to, even though I don't really want to say mess up, but even though you miss the mark, it's realizing that you get to go back to where you started and continue. Because a lot of people like to fall off or not stay committed or...
Tell me what you mean by fall off. Give an example for your own life.
Like, for example, with me, I'm trying to get into my meal plans. It's been pretty difficult for me. I'm a kid. I like to, you know what I mean, eat or whatever. But I want to get healthy for myself. And I think that health is a big part of spiritual growth, in my opinion. Your mind, your body, and your spirit should be your 3 priorities, and God, of course. But health for me is a big thing. So when I go on my meal plan, sometimes I tend to fall off. But I always remind myself, hey, I get to get back on it and I get to start again. Because as humans, sometimes, you fall off, but you get back on because you're learning. So
yeah. So tell me what you mean by learning. What are you learning from the process of falling off your meal plans and then having to regain your health, like falling off your health plan and then getting back on?
Discipline. I'm learning discipline.
Okay.
For sure. I guess I'm learning myself and the patterns that I've created around eating and how I get to create new ones, of course. That's always the best feeling, is knowing that I don't have to stay like this forever, that I could keep moving forward in positive ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving forward in positive ways, tell me, so obviously there's a part of you that's not so maybe so positive, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what that looks like for you. Because see, what happens with us, right? And we know this, that we typically beat ourselves up when we go down the spiral, right? And so tell me some of the stuff that happens in your head in terms of when you start to spiral. What are the conversations? How do you overcome those conversations?
Well, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I fell off. Might as well just screw it and whatever, do it all, If I'm going to eat bad, then might as well eat bad for the rest of the day. But that's not really to me, in my opinion, in my personal experience, is not really healthy for me, and it doesn't work for me. So, yeah, I guess I don't.
Okay.
It's a deep question, I guess.
I know.
That's a deep question.
It doesn't work for you, so what do you do? Like, what is the self-talk in your head when you fall off? Like, if you, not necessarily like, even, it doesn't even have to be with meal plans. Like, when you're not following your spiritual path, what sort of happens to you?
Oh, I feel like I'm going backwards, and sometimes I have mental breakdowns. I mean,
Okay.
it really happens. But instead of beating myself up, I tend to cry and drop into my heart because it's so much easier. Because then I feel even like I don't feel crappier or even crappy at all after I'm done crying. But as opposed to beating myself up, it's like you don't feel too good after. Well, I don't feel too good after.
Tell me about when you cry. Is that like, tell me about when you cry. Is that like vulnerability? What is that for you?
Yeah, vulnerability, being accepting of like who I am. You know what I mean? And it's okay. Like, I don't have to be so hard on myself because at the end of the day, it's like if I'm okay with myself and I love myself, then who really cares what anybody else thinks, right? So that's.
I have a question because I think there's like a lot of parents, right, out there, are people that are dealing with teens and don't really understand your generation. Some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all these, we have these discussions, right? So I fall in sort of the millennial, sorry, I'm going to get on here. So I follow sort of the millennial, Gen X, millennial. I kind of fall on the cusp of that. And I think even your generation, I don't know what you guys are called, but I know that there's a lot of,
I'm not too sure.
okay, so whatever your generation is called, I know that a lot of the adults don't really understand sort of your, because you're 17, you're young, and we're looking at you guys as our future and saying, we don't, some people don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? And tell me what are, like, tell them what the challenges are, like with your age group, what you see and what message you want to give to them about that. So just speak from your heart, basically. Okay, and get in the camera.
Okay. um, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Here in
Speak up too.
Okay.
Use your voice.
Here in Albuquerque, because I've never really been anywhere else, I see a lot of like drugs and shootings and stuff, and like a lot of kids that I know have personally been in scenarios like that. So I guess my advice would just be make sure you know your place in the world and who you are, because sometimes in situations like that it can get really, really scary. But if you know your place and you know where you stand.
How could they support kids your age, though?
Parents?
Yes.
I think the best thing is to be there for them. Some might make a space that's open where they can talk to you about things, because from personal experience, I know with my parents, it's a little hard for me to express how I feel. And then it closes off a lot of possibilities for like our relationship to grow or, for it to get better. So I guess my advice would be just create a space that feels open and welcoming, because kids don't want to talk about serious things, but in reality, they're very important. And sometimes it can happen to your kid. So I think creating a space would be the most beneficial, and just support them. You can't give them the answers, but they have to learn for themselves, of course. But as a parent, I think it's important to let your kids learn and let them make mistakes, because it teaches them, lessons in life that when they get older, it's going to really help them.
So, like for kids that are having a hard time in their life, like you see a lot of kids, right, having a hard time and struggling,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe your relationships and, with your parents, maybe it's been hard for you, and talk about that, like really talk about it. Speak up, please. We're dealing with the subject. The challenges that you have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what Spirit and Coffee's about. Look at her. She's like, oh God, what did I get myself into?
A little bit, yeah. What did I get myself into?
Just look, you don't have to give it all, but
Okay, because I really don't want.
just giving examples because look, there's parents out there right now watching, hopefully, and parents are trying to understand, right, the
Mhm,
youth,
mhm.
and you have a so for you it's like, yeah, it might feel like a big responsibility, but you could give insight to the parents on how they can support their children, right, in some ways, like from your perspective, like here's like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it okay, so
I mean, I know it's really hard, but try not to get frustrated or angry. I mean, I know it's like, of course, you're like the parent and you're supposed to, I guess. I don't really know. But oftentimes with me and my mom, she like gets mad at me and like yells at me, and then I want to fight back because I'm by nature a confrontational person, and she is too. So it's really like back and forth all the time. So I think not getting angry and maybe like, I guess, being vulnerable and, asking your kids questions. You know what I mean? And communication is key because me and my mom don't have any communication at all whatsoever. And it turns into a big old fight. And I am a confrontational person when it's presented to me, but I really don't like to fight. Like, honestly, it's too time consuming, I guess, and it hurts my feelings. So I don't really like to do it. But
so if it was the best scenario from like your parent, what would be the best approach?
maybe just be like, what's going on? Are you okay? Or is there something bugging you? Because both my parents aren't like that at all. And then I get like that with other people. So basically, it's like, for me, it's like it all stems down to your parents, how you are as a person. So make a healthy relationship with your daughter or your son so that way they know how to treat other people. Because if they're seeing you, they don't lead by your words, they lead by examples. Because your actions speak louder than your words. So if you're telling somebody or you're telling your kid not to do this, but obviously you've done it and you continuously do it, I don't really know what the scenario is, but just you can't see that, I guess. In my opinion, I guess.
So you're saying lead by example.
Yeah. Just don't be so quick to judge your kid, because I'm pretty sure you have been in that position. I think parents forget what it's like to be kids, like they forget that it was,
Not so easy.
yeah, it really isn't. And being an adult, I'm pretty sure is not very easy either, but I'm not very good with listening to people. Well, I am with certain people. If you really impact me, then of course, like my auntie. But and my nana. But other than that, I'm like, I don't really listen to anybody else. Or when I go to UNM and Dawn, I listen to Dawn.
But okay, so you say you don't listen to a lot of what do you think's blocking you from the listening piece?
I guess it's just specifically with my mom. I mean, I do listen to other people. I listen to my sister. I listen to my brother. He's younger than me, but he's a pretty wise kid. But if you're gonna yell at me, then I guess I just don't want to pay attention to it and not going to, and I'm just gonna run away from the problem because that's what I do. But yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on.
Okay. So I hope you guys are hearing what she's saying. It's the communication. So what I'm hearing, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that the communication that you engage in with your children is what's important and how you engage communication so that they have an open space to articulate what internally is happening with them. Okay, let's see. Doreen says, as a parent of a teenager, I've been really trying to remember when I was his age and approach issues with questions versus I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, that's how it is with me and my mom. So for me, it's like, I get it, I'm 17 years old, but my opinion and my, like, how I feel about myself and you is just as important as how you feel about me. And sometimes I don't get to articulate that or say that, and it causes a lot of distance between me and my mom. So that's my frustrations around it, but that's honestly a really good approach.
Yeah.
That's what I would probably do as a parent. Is just listen to my kid. Because I don't know what they're thinking and I don't know what's going on internally, and they can be really, something really awful inside could be going on and I have no idea, you know? And oftentimes it's like that with me and my mom. It's like it's just really, really bugging me, and it's not because she's being mean, it's because she's my mom and I don't want to fight with her.
Very good. So I think thank you for sharing, and I hope this is helping parents out there. Hopefully. And I kind of want to shift gears because Deja is she's a beautiful little soul here. And I'm not just saying that because she's my niece, but okay, I'm partial to her because she's my niece, obviously. but but shifting gears in the spiritual alchemist, and the reason that I put that she is a spiritual alchemist practitioner is because there's obviously, you guys know, as I do spirit and coffee, I'm always talking about practice, 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 practice. That's all I say is practice, 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 and practice some more. Why? Because that's what distinguishes a master from a beginner, is just the practice that we put into it. And Deja has really taken on the reins of wanting to practice in the spiritual alchemy or the spiritual alchemist or whatever you want to call it process, and understanding what that means for her life, which has helped her, right? It's helped her in so many ways. And so I want you to just talk about like, so I'm going to ask you, hopefully, if you're okay with this, is to look in the camera, like, and like you're talking to yourself, because that's typically what I do. I'm going to put this on you, and I want you to just, we had something called Chookie's Insights. And I think that this would be a good time for Chookie to give her insights. Okay, again, she is Deja. Her real name is Deja. She's, she's 17, and she's really, really trying to live into the practices and principles that I teach. And I want her to kind of tell you what it's done for her, because if you practice the work, you guys, it works. Would you say that, Deja?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So she's practicing, right? And she's a baby practitioner. I always call her baby practitioner, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna give it over to you. I want you to take this on and be bold and brave. Okay, this is a practice. This is a practice of being awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna give this to you. You can put it on your shirt. Watch.
Okay.
Okay. Oops. Okay, take it away, Chookie.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Chookie's Insight.
So I guess I will just tell you my story, I guess. All right. Let me get into the groove, man. Let me get into the groove.
She's really not that.
Let me try to get into the groove, okay? I got my GED, and I had some opinions. Some people had opinions about it, and some didn't. But a lot of them were good, and a lot of them were not so good. Some people looked at me because, oh, you're young, you just dropped out of school, you didn't care, blah, blah, blah. Or GED is like not as smart as high school diploma. Let me tell you, it takes about 3 years for people to get their GED on average, and I got mine in about 7 months. After that, I graduated, and I quickly was thinking about, well, I want to go to college. Like, I really want to go to college. I had been to C&M to do my GED tutoring or whatever. I didn't take any classes, but I did have one-on-one tutoring. I didn't really want to go to C&M. It wasn't like I didn't see me prospering over there, and I didn't like the atmosphere, the energy. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to go to the university. So I talked to my auntie, and she's an alumni from the University of New Mexico. She graduated from Anderson School of Management, which is what I'm doing. My major is business administration with a concentration in international management. At first, when I first started and I wanted to, my mom was like, no, you're going to C&M. But I was like, no, I'm not going over there because I don't see a future over there. And just because the money isn't here right now doesn't mean it's not going to be there. So I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I manifested and I asked and I was like, please, if I'm supposed to be here at the university, just let me know. It was sad because I was seeing people take their senior pictures and I, got my GED. So I was like doing everything on my own. I didn't have any friends and it was like, I need a fresh start. I need something new. So then I finally got into UNM and I met some amazing people. Some people who are just like me. Some are really different, really, really different. But altogether, I love it over there and I love being there. I love talking with the people. You're able to express yourself. You don't get in trouble. It's very different than high school. It's not the same at all. And I'm supposed to be a senior now, and I'm already almost done. I have one more week left of my first semester in college. And it's been amazing. And it all happened because I decided to take my life in a different path, a different direction. When I left school, I was pretty in a dark spot, I'm not going to lie, mentally. I was really sad all the time. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. And then after being in college, I fell in love with it and I wanted to be there all the time. And I still do and I miss it. So can't wait to go back tomorrow, but it's been an experience. It's helped me understand that anything's possible, really. Anything is possible. I'm telling you guys, when I graduated, I got $800 to get my car. My mom was pushing me to get a car. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it and whatever. So I ended up getting the car. I prayed. Me and my auntie actually sat outside together. We held hands and we prayed that I could get a car. And the whole time I was like, can I please get a car with an aux cord? Can I please get a car with an aux cord? Because I need to listen to my own music in my car. And guess what? I got one with an aux cord. It was the best. It's a really good car. But it's just I think it's as long as you hold up your end of the bargain and you're staying true to who you are and you're standing in your integrity, whatever that is, and your morals and your values and what you stand for, which is my definition of integrity, then God will always work in your favor. He wants to help people, and you can help yourself. And I think that that's amazing because, we are God. As God is us, then that means that every time we help ourselves, God is really helping us, So I think that's the amazing part of spiritual alchemy and taking this path. And I've had some setbacks and you know what I mean? But it's taken roughly about 2 years, but I didn't really start getting into it until after I left high school. So about a year ago, but it's been an on and off journey. I didn't make it a full priority until I left to get my GED.
What's happened since you've made it your priority?
I can tell you right now, my space, I'm really before I used to be this person, I still kind of am, but I'm pretty worried about my space and I want it to be organized because I see the correlation between my mental state and my room, and it's when it's in shambles, I feel like my life is in shambles and it's not, I don't know where things are, it's not organized, and I feel cluttered, and then my mind is like, oh my gosh, and it's just too much, and then I don't even want to look at it, so I'll avoid it. But I see different, correlations that I didn't see before, definitely holding back your emotions, what that does to you mentally and physically. Holding back tears really hurts the throat. And my auntie was talking to my friend Mia yesterday, that it's because you're not speaking your truth. So it's just all these different correlations. And then I've really gone into tarot, and that for me is the best. It's taken me in a whole different direction. I love it because it's literally spiritual alchemy at your fingertips. I mean, it is, because you are a spiritual alchemist, even though you don't know it or don't want to believe it or whatever it is that you feel. But I love tarot. It's amazing. And I if you look at my older video, it's called Chookie Insights. I talk about tarot. If you guys want to check it out, make sure to do that. But it talks about a really good book in there, and it's called Tears to Triumphs. Hey guys, if you need, and I mean, sometimes my auntie, I love her to death, but she'd be using these big words and like amazing like terminology, and sometimes I don't understand. So the book Tears to Triumphs, I got it at Barnes and Nobles, and it's amazing, and it really explains what she talks about. And I talk about that in the video, as well as tarot and how it kind of, well, not kind of, but how it meshes together and connects pretty much.
Tell them. So you talked about the car. Hi guys. The car, how it manifested, but the biggest piece I think was how we prayed about it. Remember?
Oh yes. I think as well as like manifesting, that's great too. But like she said, prayer, the way you say it is really important, I think. So it's like when we asked, I said, can you provide me with the resources and the tools to get a car that is right for me, you know? Because when you're asking for a car, well, then a car's just going to appear, but it's like, this is not the car that I wanted. Well, okay, well, you got to be more specific. Well, do you want a blue one? Do you want this? Or do you know different things? I don't know. But for me, I found the perfect car for me. Its name is Forest. It's really, really like an Everest green, I guess. But I prayed for something that fits me and what's gonna work for me, and God provided that because I asked for it. So it's really important to be specific and clear with what you're asking and your intentions as well. Be clear about your intentions. What is it that you're trying to create? What is it that you want to create? You know what I mean? It's just these different things that play into stepping into your birthright, I guess. And I know it sounds a little funny, but not really. But the car is me stepping into my birthright. It's me actually getting to have, transportation, getting from A to B, and being able, to do that for myself and growing that independence. So really it is me stepping into these new lessons. And that's how I guess it correlates to the bigger picture.
And do you know who you are?
I'm Deajsha. Where do I even begin with who I am? I'm just amazing.
Yes.
And y'all are lucky to have me on the show. No, just kidding. No, but seriously, you are. And I'm so lucky to have all of you guys who came and joined this show, because it was amazing talking to you guys. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I think people forget that I'm like 17 years old. And I think that's the great part about knowing this work, because everybody's like, oh, it's like, I think it's funny because people my age group don't really get it. And I think that's another thing too, is why I can't connect with people and why I feel like I'm such an old soul and so mature. It's because I hang out with older people, people with experience and stuff. These younger people don't really get it because, they're too busy doing their thing on Instagram. And I am too, but I also have a life way beyond that.
Yeah. And I think that it's for everybody, right?
It is. It's anybody can tap into this type of work, but it's like, always ask yourself, what are you using it for? Are you using it for personal gain? Or are you using it to help yourself and to help others? Because it's not really that you can help others, but by helping yourself, you're able to help others because you're showing people ways, to set great foundations to their lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all you have to say? So, thank you, Chookies. And stay here. Don't go nowhere. Doesn't mean you go anywhere. I'm going to put this little pin on here for those on Podbean. Hi, those on Podbean. Hi, Peter. I don't know if you guys are still on here. I usually say hello to people when they come on. Allie, Mike, Janice, Peter. I don't know if you guys are all still on here, but um, I brought Chookie on here because a 17-year-old is able to utilize the work and get results. And that's really that's the importance of what I'm trying to tell you guys, right? Good morning, Elmo, or good morning. See, I'm so used to it being in the morning, I'm going to say good morning. It's natural for me to do that.
Good evening.
Good evening, but on the other side of the world, it's probably morning. So,
Yeah.
good morning to you guys, and good night to the ones that are on here. But the work that I speak about when I talk, when I get up and do Spirit and Coffee every morning, when I'm trying to support you guys to understand that when you follow the process, when you step into your life, you will receive the results you're looking for. Did you receive the results you wanted?
Oh, yes, and more. And it's like I've gotten to the point where at first, it's like you don't really know what you're tapping into or how powerful it is. But after a while, you're able to manifest things quickly because I think, in my personal opinion, your emotions have to do with like manifesting, I guess. Because think about like when you're angry or whatever, you have different ways of transmuting your energy. So I think like for my auntie sometimes is working out or me is singing or different things that I like to do, but I think that within transmuting that energy, you're able to manifest more because you're using it properly. You're using your fire energy properly, which is the wands and the tarot. Telling you guys, look at tarot. It's beneficial and change your life.
So she's talking about the fire energy that I talk about quite a bit, which is the difference between the divine will and the ego. And that energy is super, super critical for us to manifest what we choose in the world. But different practices will show up based on that fire energy. In other words, she was saying, my practice is to go to the gym. Her practice is to sing or write or do other things. That's why I say this is not about what's right for me, it's what's right for you. But the results will show up if you put the work in. That's the big picture here. 17-year-old, and I bring her on here because she follows the process, right? 17, she was pulled out of school. She didn't want to be. She had to get her GED. She got her GED. Then she's like, I don't want to go to CNM. I want to go to UNM. And I told her, okay, I can support you through the process. She did it all herself. She got into UNM at 16. She wasn't even 17 yet. Got in. Her mom said, you have to get a car. She didn't know how she was going to get a car. She bought it herself, and it was through prayer. And I told her, look, let's pray, but there's a right way to pray. And that prayer wasn't, oh, I need to have a Mercedes Benz. No, it was like, provide me the resources I need so that I can do the things that I need to do to give to you, God, right? To support you, to support my divine birthright so I can manifest the things that I need to in life. And that was the prayer. And we sat there, and I think how long, like the next day, right?
Yeah, a couple of days later, I went on Let Go and I saw all these different cars and I was like, this green one looks really, really good. Well, we actually met up with the guy the next day, military. We met him at Kirkland Air Force, the base. And he kept the car in really, really good shape. It has about 400,000 miles on it, but it passed emissions with flying colors. God works in mysterious ways. Sense of humor, I guess. It's funny to me. It's like, gosh, it's like it has so many miles, but it's still running strong. So
Yeah, and it's a nice vehicle.
it really is. I love it.
So again, she just used the work and the process. That's it. We can make it as hard as easy as we want to make it. And we're the ones who bring that hardness or that ease and grace with it, right? It's so when we rub up against the force, when we force ourselves through things rather than go with the flow of life and trust and have faith, and we insert our own self in there, and we force things to happen, they don't happen as easy. when we drop into our heart, when we allow the ease and grace to flow within us, and we do it for the purpose of our higher power, things happen faster. She freaked out because she's like, whoa, she got to see a miracle happen.
I think the biggest miracle for me, the thing, I mean, I already knew that was on my side, but getting into college was like the biggest thing for me. I was like, it was amazing. It was my Nana's birthday's the 14th of August and mine's the 15th. And we found out on my Nana's birthday, which was funny. And then the next day I turned 17. So being officially 16 and in college was a really big milestone for me, and it still continues to awe me sometimes. I'm like, gosh, how did I get here? You know?
So everything and anything is possible with God. Anything and everything's possible when you stay committed to the work. Everything and anything is possible when you put your spirit first.
Spirit first always. It's the most important thing ever, I think. I mean, I know that it's the most important thing when you cherish it and you give it, you know what I mean, the love that it needs. It gives you blessings in ways that you could never explain. You know what I mean? It's really cool. It's the experience of self-love is like, I can't even explain it to you because everyone's experience is different, but mine was like amazing. It was like just a big explosion, I guess. A little explosion in my heart.
That's
but
awesome.
it's always, I've always had trouble with self-love and like accepting myself for who I am. And after understanding that I am, you know, an extraordinary human being, that I get to create extraordinary things. So
I love that. Do you see? I'm an extraordinary being, so I get to what? Create extraordinary things.
I mean, the idea of letting God flow through you is like, it's like that idea that we're separated from God and we're not. It's like everything that we need is inside of us, you know, and it's like we are just as capable as walking on water and turning water into wine, you know, and it's just the idea of believing and understanding who you are in this world and even in the universe, because not even who you are in the universe, because you are the universe, but I think you already know, but you're immortal, you know, you never die, just the vessel that you are in, but you never truly die. You go somewhere else. I like to say the higher state of being because for me it's like that elevation of consciousness, but I think you can do that here on this planet too and support yourself and support others, because I know that everybody wants to help everybody, but it's like you got to help yourself first before you go and help other people, you know, because it's like you're preaching to the choir, but you're not really preaching what you're doing. So does it really benefit them if it's not coming from a genuine person who's experienced these things for themselves?
Yes, and that's what I love. Because trust me, thanks, Andrea. We love you too, Cuds. And hi, Timothy. Hi, Elmo. Hi, Andrea. Let's see if people are still on here. Syed, Nicole, Peter. I don't know if these people are still on here. Debbie, Jose, everybody that's on here still. Hi. I usually say hi to everybody, but we're letting Chookie have the take the reins.
No,
So the reality is, and I love that, is it's not easy. And trust me, this household is not easy. People say, oh, well, you know, Chookie, she's so wise. She's so this. Yeah, but guess what? She gets to go through me sometimes. And it's not easy. It's painful. Her and I have had.
Oh, we've had our moments.
We've had our moments of disagreement.
We've definitely had our moments.
Where I say, okay, I get to be in the practice of the work myself too, where her and I'm like, okay, I'm not agreeing with what she's doing at this point, and then I insert myself, right? And and it's like, but I practice what I preach, because on here I tell you guys nothing's right, wrong, good, or bad. And what do we have to be right about? Talked about that quite a bit. And there are times where I'm like, I'm not going to fight with the 17-year-olds because I need to be right about this. I don't. I can just be quiet. And I'll be silent and not say anything and say, okay, if you think you know what's best for you, go ahead and do it. I've already given you the tools you need. And if you choose to do otherwise, I'm not going to tell you, well, there you go. See, I told you. But I'm just going to look at you and be like, you chose it.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to tell you I told you, but then I'm going to tell you I told you. But it has been uncomfortable at times. The work is not easy. It's not roses all the time.
Oh yeah, it's like hearing sometimes the truth. It's like, oh my gosh, but like for me, I've actually been getting quicker and quicker with transmuting my energy for sure. Before I used to stay angry for hours, days even, and now I can do it in minutes. For me, I think the longest it'll take is like 20, 30 minutes for me to get over my stuff, and I'm still working on it for it to be faster, because dwelling on things is not, I mean, it's not, she said good, right, wrong, or bad, but is it serving you? Is the question. Is it serving you to be like that? Is it supporting you? And I always hate that question, but at the end of the day, it's the most critical one. Is it really serving me to be this angry right now? And the question is no, because the other person doesn't even care. And I do. I care tremendously. So I have to kind of dial it back and say, it's not that serious.
And that's, yes.
It's really not that serious. But yeah, I mean.
But it feels like it, right? So there's times where I'll be like, okay, you want to feel this way? Go ahead. Feel that way. Because it is. I do ask that question. My trigger question is it true? Well, I know it's not true, right? I get that it's not true.
But let me have my moment.
But let me have it. And here's a good thing for parents that I'd say, because I consider Deajsha like a child of mine. Let them have their moment. Leave them alone. Disconnect from them. Like if there's an argument, I don't push Deajsha. I trust me, I want to. There's times I'm like, oh, I just want you to understand what I'm telling you. And so you know what I do? Oh, you're such a great auntie. Thank you, Andrea. Good morning. Or hi, Gina. And I'm like, you know what? Let it go. Let her have her moment and shut your mouth, Natalie. That's what I have to do. I really do. This is me being authentic. And I talk to you guys about this on Spirit and Coffee sometimes, the stuff that we go through. And I'm like, shut up, shut your big mouth. You don't know everything. I learn a lot from her as well. I'm learning while she's learning. And I think that's the biggest problem that maybe some parents have, is that they think I know what's best. But sometimes we think we know what's best, but we're not even asking them what's best for them. What's best for you? Because I can place a bunch of things upon her. I can tell her, do this, do this, do this. And trust me, I have. Doesn't work. It's more like, what is it going to take for you to live your best life, for you to be healthy, for you to be joyful? And is it really serving you and your higher purpose to be this way? Is it? If it is, cool. But there has been times, and this is where the authentic piece of this programming comes in, where I'm like, is it serving you to be pissed off and angry right now?
That's my little, and then I get even more.
What do you say? Yes.
I'm like, yes, it is serving me right now in this very moment. It is serving me to be angry, and yes, I am playing victim right now. Yes, I am, and I'm okay with that. And you say, okay, as long as you know what you're doing and you're self-aware of, the part that you're playing, because it's like a story. We all put on these different masks. She calls them archetypes. But all these different, facades, I guess, that we put on. And for me, it bugs me. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm playing victim right now. Leave me alone. And then I go in my room and I'm like, I don't want to play victim anymore. It's not fun. And I have to come back and I'm like, I'm sorry. I was not being very nice. And she's all, it's okay. I guess. No, I'm just kidding. But, it's like we get back to it. Even my Nana, there's times I'll be, cleaning or whatever. And she's like, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, I'm just trying to help. Like, I'm sorry. And she's like, why are you saying sorry? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm like, I don't know. I can't. But Yeah, it's a lot, but at the end of the day, it's like, why hold on to things, you know? You love them anyway, you know? It's like, why even hold on to it, you know? It's like, it's pointless. You know, at the end of the day, you still love them. They love you. I think it's just that understanding of like, I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to push your buttons because I did, and you got really mad. And I don't do well with mad people, so, but, you know.
Yep. Well, so as you know, that so that's what happens. That is the process that we go to. So leave them alone. But here is the difference, right? In some households, she's allowed to have her own feelings. The only thing I ever ask her is that she's aware that she's choosing them. That's it. That's the big key. That's the big kicker. I'm not going to tell her how to choose because, again, it's not up to me or up to you to decide how people choose to live their life. We can only provide them the tools. It's up to them to utilize them or not. And at the point that we insert ourselves, we become judgmental. Hello. Now, when we become judgmental, okay, when we become judgmental, we start to what? Deteriorate and operate from ego, and we deteriorate our own self, what? Happiness.
I know that from personal experience with my mom, fighting with her, sometimes she'll continue to like throw jabs and stuff, and I'm like still angry, and it just gets me more and more angry, and it's like, I don't want to be angry right now. I'm trying to get rid of this energy. I'm trying to release it, and you're just causing more and more, and I don't want to. I don't want to do this. So,
Right. And so that's the big key. So what I do is so this is sort of the process, right? We'll butt heads. And then I'm like, you know what? Shut up, Natalie. You're not going to be right over a 17-year-old. Let her have her moment. But I will ask her, you know that you're playing victim. Those are hard questions to ask people, right? But the reality is when she says, yes, I know, then I say, okay, cool. And I leave it at that. The only thing I care about is that she's aware that she's choosing that and that there is a way to choose differently. She doesn't have to choose differently. I certainly want her to choose differently because I love her. But it's the same when I do spirit and coffee every day. That's what I'm telling you guys. It's your choice. Hey, Pakistan. He's from Pakistan watching. Hi. It's probably morning for you. Um, so with kids, and I highly recommend supporting them and understanding that they have a choice. That's it. But don't force upon them what they should choose. When you do that, it pushes them away. See, I don't go running after Deajsha. I don't go running after people. I will let them have their moment and I will separate and let them ponder and think about it for themselves. But what does she do? She comes back and she apologizes and says, and then guess what? She has the opportunity to tell me authentically how she truly feels because I'm not going to judge her for it. I'm just going to listen to her. And she comes back and says, I was playing victim. I was. Okay. And how did that make you feel? What did that do for you? What does it do for you?
it does not make me feel good. You know, there's times where like, well, there have been times, not anymore, but there have been times where everybody's all having fun and I'm still in my room and I'm like, somebody gonna come for me? And the reality is, no, Deajsha, you're in your room alone. No, they're not gonna come for you because they're too busy living their lives and you're over here just like mad because you're in your feelings, you know? So I think it's funny to me now that I think about it being alone in my room and like sabotaging the chance for celebration, you know, because I'm too busy being me, my angry self.
Right. And then you come back, right?
Yeah, which it's good to experience it, but don't stay stuck in it, you know? It's like you can feel it, express it, and then let go because anger and frustration and resentment, you don't realize what it does to you physically definitely, I mean, you can probably understand what it does to you mentally, but physically it's pretty harmful too.
Yeah.
Because you express it in different ways, like your coping mechanisms.
Hey, Ignacio. So again, that's how her and I operate, and I wanted to talk about that because I think it's huge for parents to understand that kids have an opportunity, right? And that we support them in letting them feel what they feel without making them wrong for it, and letting them know that, okay, go ahead and feel that way, but you have a choice here. You can choose to feel like that. And you could choose to be a victim, but is it serving you? And if the answer is no, what will serve you? That's why I ask that question over and over and over. But in the heat of the moment, it's not an easy question to hear. No, huh?
It's not definitely not my favorite question to be asked. Is it serving you? Well, no, but leave me alone. Of course it's not serving me. If not, I would not be in shambles right now. Of course it's not serving me. Don't ask me that question. I mean, some people aren't really aware, but I am. So when I get asked that question, I'm like, yes, I'm sad. Leave me alone. I'm trying to get through my sadness, okay?
And that's all I want to hear from her is, yes, I'm sad, and yes, it's serving me right now. Okay, because it might be. Our sadness and pain might be serving us at that particular moment. Okay, it's serving you. But to stay there, are you going to let it serve you, stay there?
See, right woman, okay?
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding.
What's judgmental? Somebody said. So someone that someone that judges your mental abilities.
Honestly, though, it could be judge and then mental. Gotta think of etymology of words. Thank God for biology class.
Thank God for etymology.
But judgmental, that makes sense, though. Honestly.
Judging your psyche.
It's like, well, judging other people's, because it's like, it all's like, for me, I was judging, because when I attended college, like, everybody has a different opinion, but it's like, it's not like high school. It's like, no, you can't talk about religion. Politics aren't allowed. You know what I mean? Like, there, you can talk about them, and nobody really cares. You know what I mean? Or, you know, people will insert their opinions, and sometimes it gets into fights, but usually teachers aren't like, stop that.
Yeah, well, the university is a platform where you can express yourself. Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really get, there have been times I've gone into confrontations with people, but like, I like to talk about big controversial things because it's just like, for me, it serves me, I guess. I like to talk about them. They're just interesting, and hearing other people's perspectives. There's some who are really questionable. I mean, that's it, like, and I'm pretty sure mine's questionable too, but like, I think as a whole, it's like, don't be so judgmental on other people's opinions, I guess, because they're all set on their morals and values, and that's what they live on. You know, that's probably what they've grown up saying. So you can't judge somebody for not understanding your point of view because they're not you, you know. And it's like you shouldn't expect somebody to respect, you know what I mean, your opinion. Just listen. You know, and if they want to do further research or they want to take it into their own hands, okay, well, then that's their problem. You know, you planted a seed, and sometimes you can learn from other people, which is, again, what we all do. We all learn from each other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So we are coming up on an hour.
Yeah, I have to go to bed, guys.
So do I. Oh my God, it's already going to be 11. Holy Jesus. What are we doing up this late doing spring and cover? We're crazy.
We're talking about stuff that you guys need to hear at this hour. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Okay. So we're going to bring it to a close. But again, I think that if you have, so Deajsha's 17. Okay.
Again.
And she is practicing the work. She's in practice of the work, and you're hearing firsthand what it's done for her life. Okay. We love you too, Andrea.
Love you.
Love you. We love everybody on here. We love
Yes.
everybody on the
Forget and like.
podcast. But listen to this. And if you have kids and if you have friends who have kids, tell them to watch this because it's really important to know that our youth really are committed to taking on their life. They are. We've got to give them the chance and the opportunity to do so.
And the tools too, you know.
And the tools.
There have been times where it's like my auntie had a very different life than I did, but she's been able to make something of herself so that way us as future, you know, people of the world or kids of the world, we have the tools and the foundation to do that, which I'm very thankful for because a lot of kids don't understand the idea of working, which I didn't work for very long, but I do understand what it's like to get a paycheck and bust your butt to get, you know what I mean, your money and stuff. And those were things that I did because they teach me something, and that's what, you know what I mean, they wanted me to do, is to learn these things, especially with my car too, and learning to drive and all that.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Well, guys,
Chookie's out.
I gotta go, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate it. Sayonara.
Sayonara. Peace out. Okay. So there you go. So I really highly encourage you guys, for those, I'll just get on by myself here for now. I highly encourage you to listen to this if you have kids. If you are an aunt or an uncle, or kids are just a part of your life or in your family, listen to this. You guys, they have a choice. And if they want to choose to be sad and depressed, don't judge them for that. But there are simple questions you can ask them and let them know that they don't have to be stuck there. They don't have to live there, that they don't have to be victim to society, that they have the power within them to arise from the ashes into something powerful. That's all I teach her. That's it. Now it's up to her to choose for herself what she wants to do. She can stay in her pity parties, and that would be fine too. But I can't judge the choice that she makes. And I think that's the hardest thing. Now, again, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what it would be like to have a child that maybe didn't choose happiness and joy and learn to take personal responsibility. I don't have that, okay? I get that. However, I do get that I do have an important young child in my life that I care about and that I want to see succeed. And so I have other children in my life as well, like my nephew and my other niece who's older. And I'm here to support them in recognizing, in illuminating. Now she's taken on the practice more than the other two because that's what she desires. And so I'm going to support her through the process. So for you guys, okay, I'm telling you guys, look at supporting them, period. Or don't. But there's consequences either way. She's created amazing results in her life because she listens. Simple. Okay. So I got to go to bed too, but I'll be up in the morning to Spirit and Coffee. We will be reading from the Four Agreements. We will be talking about the mirrors, the shadows, and I will have a special guest on next week. And the next week, it's going to be my friend Lisa, who is a life coach, and she's in Austin. And I'm excited to bring her on because she's done some of the work as well. And so there you go. We're going to bring her on. Okay. So I love you guys. Have a really fantastic night or morning, depending on where you're at. And I will be seeing you guys in about 5 to 6 hours. Okay. So I love you guys. Bye.